Okay, so how fit should I be to ride? Let's have a look. Hi everyone, welcome to another Q&A Friday. We've got a couple of questions today and they have come from not necessarily a viewer, but they've come out of a conversation I was having with a friend of mine. And as some of you may know, I was somewhat unwell last year and I have been making a comeback in my training and my own personal health and fitness over the last few months. So one of the things I've been thinking about over this time is how your fitness changes and how your strength changes, especially after some time off. So the question that we're answering today is, how fit should I be to ride? And the other way to look at it is, how strong do I need to be to ride? Both of them go hand in hand. If you're fit, you're strong. If you're strong, you're generally fit. I had 3 months off riding, and I thought back to when I started riding again, where my fitness level was at, because I wouldn't have wanted it to be any less, because I wouldn't have done any kind of justice to the horse or to myself. It wouldn't have been a productive exercise. So I thought back to what the minimum was that I expected of myself, and you could say the same for any rider. So what's the minimum level of fitness that any rider would need to be able to ride a horse well? And of course you need this fitness so that you can give the horse all the aids that you need to do, so that you can circumvent problems as they arise, so that you can carry yourself well on the horse, so that the horse can carry itself well. And you need to be fit and strong to at least a certain level, so that you're not promoting injury in either yourself or your horse. Okay, so how fit should I be to ride? Let's have a look. So the minimum would be to be able to walk 3 kilometers. When I came back into riding, I started walking, and mainly to keep my fitness up or get my fitness back. And yeah, so I've got a 3 kilometer track, and when I first started doing that, it took me over half an hour, and now I've got it down to 22 minutes. Yeah, so it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters that much how long it takes you, but if you can't walk 3 kilometers, then you probably, there's probably a little bit of work to do. Number 2, can you plank against a kitchen bench for a minute? And the other thing to do would be to hold yourself on all fours, like in a push-up pose. Anyway, so plank yourself against a kitchen bench for 1 minute. I just tested it out today. I did 2 minutes before I started feeling it, and then I thought we could be here for a long time. So yeah, I'd say the minimum would be 1 minute. Can you stand on one leg, or for those who do yoga, stand in lotus pose for 30 seconds at a time? And is there a difference for each foot? And the next one is also for those yoga people. Can you hold dog pose for at least 15 breaths? And those breaths would be your breaths. So an entire inhalation and exhalation. Okay, the last suggestion I've got is, can you walk a 20-meter straight line without falling off? And like a straight line on a tennis court or a basketball court or something like that. Can you walk on that line without falling off for 20 meters? So they're my minimums, and there's lots of other minimums you could come up with. And by all means, if you think of something else that would be a good sort of benchmark, pop it in the comments below, and we can continue the conversation there. Because they're the minimum, you as a rider, you should be aiming to improve these. And when you treat yourself and treat your horse like an athlete, you're always trying to do just a little bit better today than what you did yesterday, and that includes your strength and fitness. Of course, without strength and fitness, you're not going to be able to execute the aids properly. The horse doesn't have to listen to you and can go into its system of resistances, and if you're not fit and strong, you're not going to be able to correct those and keep the horse on the straight and narrow. So your strength, your fitness will determine how responsive your horse is. It will determine how obedient your horse is, and in the long run, how safe your ride is. Okay, so question 2 is, what else can I do if I can't see my coach? And I've been working on this over a period of time with a couple of students who can't always see me as often as they want. Now, this is, across the board. If you can't see your coach as often as you like, for whatever reasons, time, money, geography, then there's, excuse me, then there's some other things you can do. So let's have a look at those. So firstly, there's so many dressage training books out there, either, hard copy or online. Grab a hold of those, grab a hold of as many as you can, and read up on all different types of training and the trainers and the classical masters. There's lots of theory behind dressage, and by all means, swat up on that, because that will then help back up what you already know and what you're already working on. The second thing you can do is read biographies of top riders or top sports people. As riders, as long as you're doing some kind of training, then you need to, treat yourself a little bit like an athlete, unless you are a complete weekend rider, in which case you're probably not going to watch these videos. So, I'm assuming that you are riding regularly or semi-regularly, and, you want to improve your riding, your training, your horse, yourself. So yeah, biographies of top riders or top sports people is a great way to go, and you'll get some insight into how difficult things are, how absolutely nearly impossible it is to get to the top and stay there. You'll read about the setbacks and the accidents and the injuries, and at the very least you won't feel so alone when, if things are going wrong for you. The other thing to do, number 3, is YouTube. Of course, it is a wealth of knowledge, and you want to be, there's also a lot of rubbish on there. My favourite channels are the FEI channel. So the FEI channel publicise the competitions in Europe. I've been watching the World Cup shows, and I'll watch 10 or 15 minutes of breakfast, a bit more on the weekend. And so when I'm watching those videos, I'm analysing what the rider's doing. If I'm sitting down, a few tests, I'll watch just the hands. In another instance, I'll watch what their back is doing, what their seat is doing. And at another time, I'll watch what they do in the corners, or I'll watch what they do down the centre line. So in that way, I'm pulling apart their performance and seeing exactly what they are doing that makes their horse go like it does. Of course, you can always sit and enjoy it passively, but you're not going to get as much out of it as if you are watching it with a bit of analysis in mind. The other channels that I like watching, are TRT Method. It's an Australian guy in Europe. Olivia Towers is good. It shows her journey to competition and the setbacks and the highs and lows of her journey. Warwick Schiller is really good for some lots of basics there, and there's some interesting sort of case studies. And the last one I recommend is the Dressage with Sally channel. By all means, stay tuned. The next thing you can do is DVDs. There's bound to be DVDs. You ask friends, family, or there's still DVDs being sold, online and in your local saddlery, and you can get competition DVDs or training DVDs. So yeah, good. And same again. And don't just sit there passively. Analyze what's going on. What are the riders doing? How does that result in the horse? What parts of their body are they using? What are they doing with that part of their body? Could you replicate what that rider did on your own horse? And I don't mean, don't cry at me, I can't PR from Passage. Can you replicate that half halt in the same way that that rider did? Can you replicate that corner in the same way as that rider did? You know, that kind of thing. And start comparing your own performance to that rider's performance and on a micro level, and you'll start to pick apart things that you could do better. So overall, as you know, what you're trying to do when you can't see your coach is do your best to educate yourself so that you're familiar with the fundamentals of dressage, and that will help inform your training moving forward. It will help inform your training at home by yourself, and also when you do get to go and see your coach, you'll understand the background behind all that they're saying. And what that means is that you will end up getting more out of your coach and your coaching session. So I hope those 2 questions have helped you today. And of course, if you think of anything else that would be useful to do, when you can't see your coach, pop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your ideas. If you like this video, don't forget to share it or like it or write me a comment below. Of course, I will see you next time. Thanks for watching.